Hey everyone, I want to take a minute and talk about something that's been coming up a lot in my conversations with Shopify merchants lately, and that's all about fulfillment. And if you're doing over $1 million in revenue, I know that's a lot of people that are listening here today that are at that kind of level, and you're still packing boxes yourself, or maybe you're wrestling with a warehouse partner that's kind of holding you back, you're probably leaving money on the table. And I see this all the time. Brands hit their kind of first scaling wall because fulfillment starts to become this almost massive bottleneck and eats up a lot of time and a lot of energy. That's why I'm excited to have ShipBob as a sponsor of today's episode. They've got over 60 fulfillment centers across the US and Canada. I believe they're in the UK and the EU, Australia. They're all over in all the hot spots where likely your customers are, which means customers actually get their orders faster while you save on shipping costs. Here's what I really love. Many brands, like one particular, like Bloom Nutrition, for example, doing hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and literally only have a team of 2 people that are handling operations. And all of that is because ShipBob is taking care of everything from the post-purchase experience. And with all the recent kind of tariff changes that we've been talking about, they've got this foreign trade zone warehouses that you can actually help you defer these duties until you actually ship the product. So that's a huge cash flow benefit. And so if you're ready to, I'd say, get your time back and maybe scale without the operational headaches, then you should head over to shipbob.com. You can mention e-commerce Fastlane. They'll give you like a free analysis. They're going to show you exactly how much you could save while delivering your products faster. So trust me, it's worth the conversation. Head on over to shipbob.com. And now, let's get on to today's episode.
You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder, and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Well, welcome back to E-commerce Fastlane. I am your host, Steve Hutt. Now, today we're going to tackle something that I know for a fact keeps a lot of Shopify brand owners kind of up at night, all the marketers. It's kind of this, I'm going to use the word kind of dreaded, but it's this last mile kind of conversion problem that's happening. And you kind of know this scenario. Maybe, your ads are performing well or reasonably well. Your products are solid, maybe traffic is flowing, but somehow customers are still kind of slipping away kind of before they hit that buy now button. And I know it's frustrating because it appears like you're doing everything right on paper, I think, but the issue really isn't marketing or your product. I really think it's kind of almost like those crucial kind of final moments when, I don't know, just like when you want to buy something, like almost like this doubt kind of creeps in, and that's kind of where a visitor just bounces. And I think that's the reasons why I have my guest on today. His name is Luca. He's the co-founder and the chief marketing officer of a company called ZipChat, and they're at zipchat.ai. Now, Luca's kind of built something pretty fascinating here. I'm going to tell you, that's why I have him on the show. We only do 50 episodes a year, so this is going to be a very impactful show. We know AI is incredibly important to people. We kind of talked before recording today, but it's just like, how do you get your competitive moat? And part of it is people know they should get involved in AI in some capacity in their business. They just don't know where, and is it on the same brand voice, things like that. And that's what's interesting about ZipChat. They really are an AI platform. They actually engage with your highest intent visitors kind of in real-time conversations, like really at the moment I just talked about, where they're just about to leave the site. And I think that's what's quite interesting. Another thing about Luca, I did a tiny bit of research before recording, and it's interesting that he's not just another tech founder. He's actually a marketer by trade. He's scaled businesses. He's secured multiple exits. He's done a lot of fundraising, actually a lot of big investors too, like Sequoia, even Jason Calcanis. I mean, this is like incredible. He's really applied a lot of his experiences over the years now really to solve, I probably would agree, but the largest kind of biggest pain point right now in e-commerce is just this conversion rate and this last mile challenge. So I'm excited to have Luca on the show. We're going to unpack a lot of things. Thousands of Shopify stores are using ZipChat right now. So, the product market fit is there. They're iterating, they're growing, and just the revenue's there. And I read some resources and stuff and some even case studies this morning. A lot of good stuff going on. Big preamble, but Luca, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, this is awesome. So you know what? I really do mean it that I know for a fact that brand founders and marketers, they want to get involved in AI. They're a little bit nervous about all of that. And so what do you say to somebody that says, hey, because there's intelligent people out there that understand what's going on, but why are people not willing to kind of dive in a bit? Like, well, what sort of apprehension are you seeing with some of these people, and how are you able to overcome some of that?
I would say that the reason that most people are scared is because marketing itself about AI. If you open LinkedIn anytime on the day, my feed, for example, is full of people that are just writing super complex stuff about AI, showing super complex innate flows to create automation with AI, integrating APIs here and there, making agents for everything, posts with people saying like claiming comment AI and I'm going to share with you 20,000 different AI agents. I mean, this is pretty scary. If you're a real business owner, so you're really like, in the trenches every day, growing your business, doing stuff, reading something like this, of course, it's exciting. Of course, you're going to comment and you're going to receive it. But then when you have the Notion files with all this automation, integration and stuff, you're going to just get crazy. And at some point, you're going to say, okay, this is too complex for me. Let's wait for it to be more accessible. And that's actually what we have done. Like since day one, we did our best to create a software that allows merchants and brands to plug and play within minutes and kind of auto-optimize, auto-improve itself. I mean, that's the beauty of AI. AI, at the end of the day, it's very simple and can do lots of stuff. And what I would say, to come back to your question, is just don't overcomplicate it. Don't think it's what you see on LinkedIn. That's just engagement farming. It's another thing. It's not the real like AI for useful, scalable business cases.
I see. So like I said, my research kind of dug a little deep into these kind of problems that you're solving. And, we talk about this last mile kind of conversion problem. And, and it's interesting because it's really in these final moments of checkout that, a customer is choosing to not buy. And so like from your experience, because I think you're working with more than 2,000 Shopify stores currently. And
yes,
like what are some of the common reasons why customers kind of hesitate? Is there any kind of questions that are going through their mind that maybe they're choosing to not buy, but then ZipChat is kind of like helping move them along with these answers?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a very interesting research by Forrester from a few years ago that basically states that more than 53% of customers that end up not completing a purchase is because they get some last minute doubts. So they saw the ad. Of course, the ad is super beautiful, usually like 10x better than the product itself. So it's wow. They click on it. They get on the store. Maybe the store itself is designed super well. All the CRO tactics are there. I mean, it's amazing. But then at some point, when is the moment to pull out the credit card and enter the details, they start to come up with questions about, is this the product like I'm really looking for? Is it going to solve my problems? Or how does it compare to that other solution I saw yesterday? Because at the end of the day, the algo always shows something similar every day to customers until they actually buy. Or is the size going to be good for me? Or if it's a gadget, is going to be compatible with my other products? I mean, any kind of, last minute doubts that actually stop the customer. And the reality is that, I mean, in 2025, people are lazy. It's what everybody knows at this point. Yeah. So they're not going to go around your website looking for FAQs or reading like super long description or watching like 20-minute explainer videos and stuff like that. So what are the options? Yes, they can for sure shoot an email to your support at brand.com name, but okay, it's almost at this point is almost the same friction of calling like, a free toll number. It takes, effort, and customers, as we said, are lazy. So if they don't find some kind of communication tool on the website, they most likely gonna just drop. On the other hand, if they see, for example, a live chat, which is something that, of course, was super popular before, and it's super popular now, they're gonna shoot a message there. But again, if somebody is there to purchase something, is not gonna wait minutes or even more to get an answer. If it's a super related question, so something related to maybe an order they already made or a product they want to exchange or refund they want to request, of course they're gonna wait for an email like even the day before, the day after. Not gonna be a huge issue. But if I'm purchasing something right now and I have a last minute doubt, I want an answer now. And of course, for a brand, it's very complicated to do something like this where you can reply to every single customer within seconds in any language, because even if you're selling to only one country, thanks to globalization, there's going to be people that speak only Spanish, only Portuguese, only Chinese, only Japanese, and stuff like that. So you have to have a very big overhead. So with AI, you can automate this. You can engage and trigger when you understand the customer is actually, hesitating during his purchase, and make sure that the customer actually pours into the chat whatever is doubt. And then if the AI is strong, it can proactively, ask more questions, redefine what's the doubt, understand what the customer is really looking for, and then, either recommend another product or reinforce the reason that first led the customer to add the product to the cart, for example. This is a super easy and, basic use case of the many things we do.
What's interesting, because I see like there's a lot of, what I want to do is make sure I differentiate kind of what you're doing versus kind of what I see a lot on the market, and who's also been on my podcast. Like there are chat bots and chat solutions with live agents and maybe a little bit of kind of like helper logic that can say, hey, what's my tracking number, or what's your return policy? And maybe they can, have some automated kind of flows built into the chat solution. I think even the next step up from there would be maybe so there's chat bots and there's live chat agents and tools and things out there, but you clearly have built something different. You've kind of dabbled on it a bit here. This behavioral intelligence almost, where you're truly understanding the customer journey and where they're at, and they may not want, or they may not be ready to purchase. And you kind of get that feeling that that's where they're at right now, which I think is different than just straight kind of asking question, getting an answer.
I would say the first point of differentiation is that you have to consider there are two kinds of platforms. There are the platforms that are pre-massification of AI, so platforms that are on the market since many years. Of course, they're doing like some kind of AI rush, like the gold rush of back in the days, and they need to put AI because it sounds cool for investors, sounds cool for customers. It must be there.
Yeah.
So, but
yes,
the main point here is that their platforms were not built on that purpose. They were not built with that promise, and from how the code is structured to how their billing is structured and everything. This doesn't allow them to fully optimize and automate everything with AI, because otherwise the business model would probably be impacted a lot, especially when it comes to revenue, because AI is actually much cheaper than most companies out there are pretending it to be. On the other hand, you have the post-massification of AI. So like us and of course other players out there. With that being said, we're not a chatbot. We hate that word, to be honest. We have to use it here and there because SEO purposes, people are still searching and using this as a keyword. But to be honest, internally, we completely hate that. We're building a platform for agentic commerce, which we believe is going to be the future of e-commerce and the natural evolution of e-commerce as we know it. If you think about it, commerce in general before was, people going to shops, buying to malls, interacting with the sales assistant. The guy even knew the customer like personally. And after a while, okay, hey, Mike, how are you doing? Do you want the t-shirt like the one you got last month? This kind of personalization in conversation. Then you have, of course, all the era of e-commerce where, of course, you can do some kind of personalization, but at the end of the day, you can, create cluster, let's say, of personalizations. And then with agentic commerce, basically you allow customers to interact in an autonomous and personalized one-to-one way with your brand, regardless of the platform they are on. Could be Instagram, could be Messenger, could be WhatsApp, could be the website, or could be just a chat where the agents from the brand are able to basically perform all the action the customer needs to follow him through the entire journey. So from completing a purchase to upselling, cross-selling, downselling when it's needed, provide coupon codes, edit orders, recover cards, ask for refund. I mean, literally every single action that you need when interacting with a customer, automated by AI, which in a smart way through AI agents is able to understand when a certain action or a certain tool is needed to be deployed. I know it sounds all complex, but the reality is that all of this happens in the backend. When you work, for example, with us, you just start your account, integrate your store. All the information in the store are basically put inside what we call knowledge base. So basically our AI, in this massive brain, knows everything about your brand, about your product, use cases, reviews, and so on. And then, depending on the goals you set in the prompt, in the master prompt of the account, basically ZipChat will deploy the right agents at the right moment to do the right action.
I see. Now, obviously, all brands are going to have some kind of a CRM as part of their tech stack. If it's Gorgeous or Zendesk or, who knows, there's lots of different great tools, Gladly. Yeah. And so knowing that, do the technologies complement each other where I have like an email CRM and potential an email platform? There's lots of connected tech here that makes all this work. So let's talk about the CRM as it relates to ZipChat.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a small, let's say, kind of CRM internally where you can see leads or phone numbers for like WhatsApp automations, kind of agentic commerce related tasks. Or you can use the CRM of Shopify, for example, is the platform where we are working the most with. Like I would say 85% of our clients are like on Shopify. Or, you can integrate with other platforms. We can escalate problems to Zendesk or Gorgia. If a conversation is not, able to be, completed or helped by the AI itself because of any kind of limitation, then it's going to be escalated to Gorgias, where most likely there's going to be a human behind, or Zendesk, as you mentioned.
I see. Okay, that's perfect. So that makes a lot of sense then. So at least they do play nicely together. So that's most important. One thing I noticed too is that you're doing what's called like bubble chat. We don't really call it like a chat bot, but I like the bubble chat, which is physically on the website, and even on your own site, you're also running WhatsApp. Can you talk a bit about like why one brand would choose one over the other? You're choosing both because your technology integrates with both, but I'm just curious as to why one brand would choose one over another. Is one more powerful? Is it better for internationalization because WhatsApp is more widely adopted as a mobile solution? Just curious on your methodologies and kind of what you're doing here.
Absolutely. So actually, we don't recommend to show both the bubbles on your website. We believe it's actually, an overkill. In our case, you can see on our website, just because being that our product, we just want to show it off. So if somebody wants to have like, an interactive demo, can chat with the bubble or just go inside WhatsApp. When it comes to use cases, usually we don't really recommend to have WhatsApp as the first option or send people to WhatsApp immediately, because WhatsApp is an amazing tool. You build a list and everything, but still you're sending people outside of the website, which is something you don't really want, especially when they are, for example, on a product page. So we really try to tell our customers to use the different tools in different moments. So, for example, WhatsApp is amazing when you collect, for example, cart abandon intent. So somebody is abandoning the cart, already entered the number, or you collected the number before with Klaviyo or with pop-ups or whatever. Then you can basically retarget them on WhatsApp and send a message and understand why they didn't buy. Something that we do very different from most of the platforms out there, I would say like almost all of them, is that we don't treat WhatsApp as like a copy of SMS or email marketing. So we always try to teach our customers to start conversation. So instead of sending the classic message, oops, you left something in the cart, here 10% off, which it's perfect for SMS or emails. It's been around with variations, of course, for years. What we recommend to do is to send like a more personalized message, like, hi Steve, it's Luca from whatever brand. I saw you were purchasing this, but you just stopped. Can you help us grow and just share why you stopped, or if we did something wrong, or if you have any advice? So this kind of message on a conversational channel like WhatsApp will allow people to reply and engage with the brand. So their thinking will be, wow, this brand really cares about me, really cares about its customers. So it's a way of building trust. And the way we structured ZipChat, where we don't allow you to create flows because we think flows are the past, we structure the campaign creation process as a prompt. So basically you explain ZipChat in the prompt of this campaign that you want to understand what's the reason why they stopped the purchase. And depending on the reason, you want to perform different actions. So for example, if the pricing was a problem, yes, I can provide a coupon code. And then I can follow up after a few hours with an higher coupon code, or just, understanding why they didn't apply that. Or if it's a problem because they don't know when it's going to be the shipping, I can provide information, right, about the shipping times and how long it's going to take to ship to their destination. So all this kind of, conversation, you cannot really do like on SMS or emails. People are not used to respond to that. But within WhatsApp, it becomes a super powerful tool to retarget these kind of customers. And the same is with customers that already bought, because you can trigger, post-purchase sequences in campaigns, again, fully prompted, that, keep creating this conversation one-on-one with the customer. So the customer will always feel like he's buying from a human, and he built a relationship with Luca from brand.
I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So then what about, because the bulk of people that are listening obviously are Shopify powered businesses for the most part. That's who's listening right now. I see you have a Shopify app. So can you walk us through what happens when someone goes to the App Store, they download it and they install it into their admin, and then I guess there's like an onboarding phase. You mentioned about this knowledge base, kind of, I guess it's ingesting a lot of things about the business. Can you walk us through kind of what happens? I want to make sure that people that are listening that, hey, it really is a fairly simplified kind of step-by-step process, and you can be up and running in a very short period of time.
Absolutely. So the first thing that happens when you sign up and you install ZipChat app from the Shopify App Store, basically all the content on your website will be pulled inside this knowledge base. This is automatic. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to, integrate crazy API or do anything. It's going to be automatic, like one click. And then how long it's going to take just depends how big on the website. We work with, relatively small website with like a few hundred pages to like huge marketplaces with 1.5 million pages on the website. So huge catalogs, lots of different, categories and stuff. That's not an issue. Of course, the second one with 1.5 million pages will take maybe a couple of hours to create the knowledge base completely. Again, all automatic, while the former one will take like 1 minute. Then once the knowledge base is created, at this point, you could almost publish ZipChat already on your website and already is going to perform well. But what you want to do before that, you have a section which is called custom prompt, where you basically create and set up what you want ZipChat to do on your behalf. So if you want to use some kind of, tone of voice, or there are some kind of pre-qualifying question you want to ask that, the answer will help ZipChat recommend the best products or close the sale better. If there are cases where you want to, escalate to Zendesk the conversation because you don't want the AI to handle. Basically everything you want to happen, you just write it down. And you can, it's super simple to write. You just need probably a few hundreds of characters and you're done with this. At this point, you have a testing tool inside. So instead of deploying on the website, you can just click on test, and basically you have a chat internal to the dashboard, and you can, play around, ask questions, and understand how ZipChat behaves. You will see that in 99% of the cases, ZipChat at this point is already very good. It's like an employee that has been with you for a few years.
Love that.
Which is crazy. And coming back to the objection that, of course, merchants have before joining ZipChat, it's always like you said, like, oh, maybe it's not going to talk as we would talk. But the reality is that as soon as you prompt it, ZipChat will respond and behave like you want. So that's beautiful. But during this test, insider testing inside the platform, and of course later on with every single conversation with real customers, you are able to provide a correction to every single AI generated reply. So in this way, ZipChat will know in the future when a similar situation will occur that your correction is what you want basically ZipChat to use. So it will use your correction to improve itself over time. And this is one of the reasons why most of our customers, they start using ZipChat, and already in the first trial days, they start to see results, they start to see conversation, they start to see conversions, sales, and everything. But the more ZipChat is working, the more it improves itself. Plus, the more the merchant itself will provide some correction. And this usually can 3x, 4x the conversion rates over a few months, which in terms of from ZipChat. So if ZipChat out of the box is converting, let's say 7, 8, 9%, by doing this, keeping it working on the website so it auto-optimizes, plus your correction, it can go up to 25, 30, 35% conversion rate, which is insane because it means every 3 conversations, 1 is going to be a sale. It can be even higher, but that's already a pretty good number.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so since the fact that you've been working with thousands, more than 2,000 Shopify stores, and I went to the website and I know there's a lot of success stories that are on here, even ones that have been published on social and stuff. Is there any, either anecdotally, if you can talk about a particular brand that maybe here's what their life was like without ZipChat, they added it, and there's 4 or 5 that I'm looking at here right now live on the site, but you can certainly call out any one of these if you want, or if there's one just that you know of more recently, you can talk about them publicly if they're allowing, if not just anecdotally saying, hey, here's where they were, they added us, and now look at them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's every kind of business or kind of product that you go in a store and you would talk to an assistant to, optimize the sales process. It's where ZipChat works best. So, for example, we have this client. It's crazy because he's been with us since literally day one, which is called Burger Tuning. It's an Australian brand. They sell car tuning components. Okay. So it's something I don't know anything about, but I learned that it's a very complex product in the sense that there's lots of different variations, and even for the same kind of car, depending on which year is of the car, same model, this tool must be different. So as you can imagine, these kind of conversations are never easy because they're super technical, and before he had to use humans in order to explain customers exactly which device to buy. And again, all the devices from a picture standpoint, they look the same. But since he introduced ZipChat, it doesn't have any person handling this. Everything is AI. He doesn't even want to escalate it to human because he provided, a few thousand corrections over time. Again, it's a couple of years with us now. And now ZipChat runs completely on autopilot, generating 7 figures just from the chat. And he's super happy with it. We have cases of, I'm not sure if I can cite the name. It's on the website, but not for this specific metric. But for example, they sell shoes. So somebody might reconnect from the website. Super successful e-commerce, making 9 figures per year. I think selling worldwide, every kind of channel, scaling everywhere. For example, in their case, they didn't target one specific kind of problem people actually have in their feet, which is the Mortons, Unurima, or something like that. So what they did by analyzing the conversation, which is something we do for them, sending reports about what's, customers are asking about, what they're worrying about, if there are UX problems on the website, stuff like that of course you can infer from conversations. They found out that actually the third most common problem in their customer feed was this Morton Urima. So they actually started to add this as, an angle for the marketing, for the ads. And of course it grows up massive number of sales.
So interesting. Now, what about the customers that, or I guess I'm going to call them unknown site visitors first, which is the bulk of the traffic that's coming. You're paying for traffic, or there's some referral business. It comes to the website. They're assuming that your app has some kind of a pixel or something's running somewhere live on the site. So we're kind of understanding the customer journey, pages they've interacted with, and kind of get some ideas. I'm sure there's some underlying technology that understands all of this. But my question is that I know you're psychologically, you're trying to figure out, they're very unlikely to buy now. We better start engaging with them to figure it out. What other mechanisms do you have in place to maybe acquire an email address or to acquire a phone number? Because if you can't convert it live through the chat solution, are there any other mitigating possibilities? And the reason I'm asking this question is because there are some folks, I know in the American market, that are using tools, I don't know, like retention.com, or they're using OpenSend, or they're using other kinds of like unhashing the unknown site visitor, getting these email addresses and thanks for visiting. I'm curious and kind of like what your mindset is from a technical perspective of these unknown site visitors and they don't convert through the chat widget.
So at the moment, we don't really identify them unless they leave the email address or the phone number anywhere on the website or during their experience. With that being said, we are partners with retention.com. We know the guys pretty well. We refer clients each other as well. And something we are talking about is actually doing some kind of integration that will allow us as a chat to, have this kind of data directly. So we can, when they come back, the user from maybe a different device, different IP, different everything, still recognize the user and reconnect to that previous session. Because if the customer, the user is coming from, known device or non-IP, etc., the conversation history will be there. So ZipChat will know it's talking to a customer they already have a conversation with. But in the case of somebody that is changing completely, his device and everything, we are not there yet.
I see. Okay, cool. Now, just curious about that because I know there's people that have asking questions. Some are just completely against it. Others are just like, hey, well, you know what? You did come to the website. I know we don't know who you are yet, but thanks for visiting, and start that kind of, customer journey communication, and certainly opt out when you need. I think Klaviyo is okay with it because it does build the email list up or the SMS list up. So
yeah,
as long as we're North American compliant through CAN-SPAM and whatnot, it can seem to work.
That's the main thing. In North America, this is quite common. In Europe, it would be completely against, all the regulations. So yeah, that's also something we take into consideration because, of course, we are super compliant with all the local rules. But the idea is also to build at our stage. Unfortunately, we're not yet as big as Klaviyo, but our goal, of course, is to create what customers needs in order to improve their performance.
I see. So what about like kind of the scaling and the optimization of it? Because you said that, hey, it's fairly simple to add the app, build the knowledge base, give feedback to the agent to improve over time. Like, what does optimization look like then? Other than that, are there any metrics that brands should watch for? Like, how do they improve the overall level of these AI conversations over time?
So at first, when you don't really add data, the optimization is just about changing the prompt, changing the tone of voice, changing the style of the conversation and how ZipChat recommends products or, builds up the sentences. Then over time, of course, as soon as the conversation starts to be there, conversion starts to be there, you're going to notice patterns, and then you can optimize towards this by updating your prompts, updating your settings and stuff like that. But the reality is that how we structure ZipChat is to be a tool that is for most of its, life cycle with you, autonomous. We don't want you to, log in every day and spend tens of hours in working on ZipChat. That's not the purpose of ZipChat. ZipChat has to make your life easier, not to be another tool to monitor every second and to hire a specific team to work on it, which is something that actually kind of penalize us when it comes to, for example, agency partnership, because it's very simple that, agencies cannot really hypercharge their customers for, setting up ZipChat. But I mean, at the end of the day, we are here for the merchants. So coming back to your questions, how the optimization looks like. So you have different kind of, improvement inside ZipChat. The first one, of course, is the basic LLMs that improve over time. So the more the LLMs improve, the more ZipChat itself is going to be better in creating the sentences, analyzing the content, and learning about your products and selling your products. Then you have you create a better knowledge base, because on top of the website, you can add PDFs, you can add documents, you can add other external sources. And all of these paint a better picture of who your customer is and what's, what he needs, what are the use cases of your products. If you have, manuals for example, technological products, that's perfect because there's going to be technical questions and stuff like that. So you can, keep adding knowledge base as external sources that will keep providing information to the AI. And of course, the AI the more he knows about you and your brand and your products and your customers, the better he's going to be at selling the products and, engaging the customers or, replying to and solve support related questions.
Yeah.
And then you have the correction part. And on top of that we discussed earlier. And of course, on top of all of this, it's going to be ZipChat itself as a company that is going to keep improving the quality of the product, and the features, the integrations, the tools available to the agentic commerce functionalities, and so on. So all of these basically make it very easy for ZipChat to scale in terms of performances with a brand, because over time it can only improve.
Yeah. What's interesting too is in timing based on this podcast being released, we're kind of rolling into Q4 right now in the holiday season. I think it's just what an opportune time right now where, we're just kind of wrapping up the summer months right now, but what a great opportunity when you're not as busy like you will be in the Q4 times and then rolling into next year. Like you have the solution installed now, do some minor tweaks along the way so that it's kind of better at scale when there's a lot more people coming to the website, trying to get share of wallet and yada, yada, yada. But at least the solution is actually running correctly if you do it now.
Absolutely. That's something we saw. So, for us, August and September, but even October are very big months because lots of customers or lots of merchants, they want to, as you just mentioned, set it up and be sure the AI works well on a lower volume. So during November and December, they just can run it automatically without minding or thinking it can say something wrong, which it doesn't, by the way. But when you're just getting started with AI, that's always the worry.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about the future. And I know you have a special offer and stuff for our listeners that are still here. But I'm curious about from your perspective, the next 6 to 12 months. I don't want to go farther than that because we know the technology, it's specifically right now, it's out of control and how quickly it's advancing. But based on where your product is today, I'm not asking for your public roadmap, but where do you see the product kind of iterating over time? You're doing a lot of things well today. Is there anything you can kind of share? I like to get the warm and fuzzies about, hey, we do this well today, but here's where we believe the product is headed to actually keep improving the product.
Absolutely. We truly believe agentic commerce is the future. And agentic commerce, the best, let's say, application, easier way for customers to experience it is through conversation. So conversational commerce is where you are adding as a 360 product. And as a 360 product means we will be able to let our merchants have automatic conversation on all the channels they want to talk to their customer to. So right now we have the chat bubble and WhatsApp, but there's going to be all the other channels that, customers can talk to, even voice channel at some point. Ideally, within the next 6-9 months, all of these will happen. And this will unify the experience and will connect the customer to the brand as it was never connected before, because each conversation will be unique, 100% customized. And the goal is to have ZipChat, of course, recognize the different session between the different platforms, remember those in a way that when the customers come back, it knows already what they're talking about, what is the purchase history, and what can be, great product recommendation or a amazing personalized offer because it's a super client.
I just typed agentic commerce into Google and just reading the AI overviews. It's quite interesting. I definitely need to write more about this because this is definitely an emerging technology, but they give a good example here. They say, an AI agent could automatically find the best deal on a specific product based on the past purchases and preferences. It could even manage your subscription or remind you of renewals and handle any necessary actions. It's so interesting that it's a complete mind shift about just commerce in general, understanding you as the buyer, but then the agent's going out doing the work and then you confirm and boom, purchase is done. So interesting.
It's a massive shift, and we doing our best on a daily basis to collaborate, with our clients and getting as many feedback as we can, understanding what are the pain points and where we can add as much value as we can.
Yeah, this is amazing. So we are going to wrap up for today, and I know we kind of chatted before recording, and I believe there's a 7-day free trial. There's a 30-day kind of a refund policy if the ROI is not as expected, but I highly doubt that's going to be an issue. But I kind of pass the torch back to you, a special offer for our Fastlane listeners.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, we have 7-day free trial, 30-day money back guaranteed after that. So it's basically 37-day total risk free. And on top of that, since again, as you mentioned at the beginning, some people are still kind of scared about e-commerce, about AI.
A little bit.
As soon as you create an account during your trial, doesn't matter which plan you're on, you can schedule a free onboarding call with our team that we will help you, create these first account prompts. So you are sure that you're good to go following all the best practices because we set it up for you. But on top of that, just for the listeners, we add the coupon code. You can use FastLane10 that will give you 10% off on your subscription forever on any plan. Even if in the future you upgrade your plan, it's going to be sticky to your account.
I see. So 30 days free, right out of the box, pretty much, or at least 7 days free, but in the 30-day kind of like, so 37 days, I guess you really want to add it all up.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. White glove service. So literally to help kind of get things kind of rolling, add the app, but then work with the success team to kind of get this set up. So I love the white glove side of it. Thank you for that. And then that 10% discount, that can really add up net for larger brands over time. But I thank you for offering that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this has been great. I've learned a ton. I always joke on the show, but I'm on page 2 of notes. I love it. I've learned a lot today. I guarantee people that are listening today are like, okay, you know what? Maybe now is the right time. It's no risk to me. Why not add the app? Why not go at least try it out? Thousands of other Shopify brands have already chosen to use a solution, and so it's clearly working. The ROI is there. It gives you an opportunity to, test, a very progressive kind of AI solution out there, be it the bubble kind of chat, or if you really are into WhatsApp, that could be another option. But, thanks, Luca, for coming on the show. Thank you for transparent sharing, and
Absolutely.
I wish you continued success.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. All right, take care.
Bye.
Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.